In this presentation you are about to view, you will learn about Impact Footwear and our success and failures in the business strategy game. It was a ride that included challenges and successes throughout the business simulation years. We hope you find this presentation informative and interesting. Here is a layout of how the presentation will be relayed to our audience. The introduction, history, and overview of the company, as well as the beginning of the value chain analysis, will be presented by myself, John. The remaining value chain analysis and SWOT analysis will be discussed by Joyu or Taylor. Game performance measures and other ratios will be presented by Caitlin. And strategies employed, as well as lessons learned, will be conducted by Christina. In order to put a name with a face, here are the managers of Impact Footwear: Joyu Lee or Taylor, John Miller, Christina Witt, and Caitlin V. Meister. When it comes to the history and overview of our company, Impact Footwear was founded in January 2016 in Dr. Dana Haggard's Management 767 class. Our company name, Impact, was born out of our desire to be a company that people remember. Our advertising slogan, "A shoe that leaves a lasting impression," furthers our goal of making sure we do not simply fit in with the competition. Our logo was created to show a few things. We want to make an impact around the world, whether this is how we treat our employees, how we try to be aware of our surroundings, or how our shoes will be recognized around the globe. In terms of our vision and mission statement, we make it very clear where we stand and where we want to be tomorrow. Our vision is to be the low-cost athletic footwear industry leader. We will earn this by providing unique and high-quality shoes to our customers at competitive prices. Our mission statement reads, "Our mission is to ensure our employees are taken care of so they can produce products that attract and retain satisfied customers. With satisfied employees, the possibilities are endless." Our code of ethics doesn't compile numerous pages because we believe in making it short and to the point. We have 6 main areas we want to focus on. Honesty. Impact Footwear will conduct business where honesty is placed in the forefront. We will not stretch the truth in order to gain a dollar. Equality. We value all employees that produce our high-quality shoes. Each individual will have the same opportunities for employment and advancement. Transparency. Our company will be highly visible and our operations easily identifiable. We believe in preventing any deceit that may occur. Accountability. Each employee will be responsible for following all rules and guidelines. More importantly, the company will abide by all rules and regulations domestically and internationally. Safety. A safe and healthy work environment is of utmost importance to Impact Footwear. We understand our employees work to provide for their families, and we will work to ensure they go home safely each day. Respect. Everyone will respect their peers, managers, and customers. With respect, Impact Footwear's employees will act without self-interest or prejudice. As you are about to watch our commercial on the following slide, please pay close attention to the child who puts on the Impact brand shoe and how she reacts compared to her peers to a situation they encounter. And a special thanks to the Mansfield United Methodist Youth and their pastor for their roles.
Let's go outside!
Impact, a shoe that leaves a lasting impression. The next section of our presentation is important for our organization because it tells the story of what areas of our operations create value, as well as those areas that fail to create value and can be detrimental to the organization. There will be 2 areas of the value chain analysis that will be discussed: primary or value chain activities and support activities or functions. The primary activities in the value chain analysis are important because they play a vital role in the creation of our athletic shoes. Supply chain management refers to the inbound and outbound logistics of our company. We bring in both standard and superior materials in order to produce our high-quality shoes. Impact will ship to any of our operations in the 4 regions of the world. However, we only produce shoes in 2 of those areas, North America and Asia Pacific. In terms of distribution, our shoes reach customers through internet sales and wholesale sales. We do not own any direct stores for selling our products. Our marketing and sales is highlighted by celebrity appeal, which we could utilize to a better extent. We also provide retailer support so they will be more willing to put our shoes on their shelves. And we offer rebates on all our shoes as an incentive to purchase our brand. Our service is highlighted by our commitment to our employees. Since we cater to our employees and make sure we are a leader at pay and training, this will directly correlate to positive and effective customer service to better increase our sales. In terms of secondary activities or support functions, there are 3 areas to discuss. In regard to finance activities, our use of bank loans provided the necessary cash early to survive our poor execution. We utilize this cash to repurchase stock as a means of satisfying the shareholder. This also encourages future investment in our company. Human resources was key in the offering of ethics training to all employees and implementing workforce diversity. While these 2 offer no immediate monetary benefits, they lay a solid foundation for the effectiveness of our organization. HR was also important in setting the appropriate base and incentive pay, which directly translates into productive workers. Our productivity measures were always above the industry averages and often were the high. And, as we witnessed, this helps reduce reject rates. We were the industry leader in reject rates in year 17 and 18, for example. We were 1.1%, while the averages were 4.9% each year. The highs for year 17 and 18 were 10.1% and 9.1% respectively. In management information system activities, we collected data from the business strategy game and utilized it to process, apply, and make reports. Also, after data storage, we analyzed Excel spreadsheets for our various investor expectations and other performance measurements.
Well, we had areas of the organization we could improve on. Impact Footwear also had several core competencies that truly help us stand apart from the competition. As mentioned in the previous slide, we mastered the art of reducing reject rates. We accomplished this by purchasing upgrade option A, which was reducing reject rates by 50% in the Asia Pacific plant. Then we purchased option D, which would boost worker productivity by 25% in the North American plant. Another core competence was the offering of a low number of models, especially late in the simulation. We realized the trend was to offer a higher number of models, so we decided to go opposite. While another company appeared to follow our lead, we kept our core competence with high quality, high SQ rated shoes. This was all accomplished with very little celebrity appeal. As we know, a SWOT analysis is very important in determining the internal and external factors that will play a major role in an organization going forward. So, I will first start with the internal factors, strengths and weaknesses. One of the strengths that we stood out for our company was internet price. We were either the leader in internet price or within the top 3 or 4. This allowed solid market share for the internet segment each year. The same could also be true for our wholesale price. We believe our model offered an SQ rating are also strengths and will continue to be ones until more competitors jump on board. We are distancing ourselves by offering better quality shoes, and we reaped the benefits in year 17 and 18. When you looked at our industry, we were unique in this respect, and we believe this is the strength of our organization. In terms of weaknesses, one that really stands out is our limited production capacity. When we experienced trying times early in the game, we were looking to increase cash in whatever manner we could. So, we sold off 1.5 million pairs for a short-term gain. As the game continued on, we realized we could use more production in order to make a better effort to increase our market share. Another weakness was market share. As we mentioned in the previous slides, we felt we had adequate sales to remain competitive and make gains. However, we really needed to make a bigger push to gain more market share. We listed two opportunities and two threats. First, with proper strategy and stricter focus on costs, we believe the private label segment would be extremely beneficial. The investor expectation numbers would be affected, especially earnings per share and image rating, more importantly, while increasing market share. Second, the utilization of celebrity endorsements would make a big difference in the overall operation. Strategically obtaining celebrity can override any possible weakness in SQ rating, price, or free shipping. One of the threats is the movement of exchange rates. These play a vital role when it comes to sell and importing, exporting our products. Due to our limited production facilities, this rate could be detrimental to increasing our bottom line. While we pride ourselves in being very competitive with labor rates in manufacturing can get out of hand rather quickly. If labor rates continue to raise, our bottom line would be threatened unless we make the necessary adjustments in other areas of operation. As we look at factors affecting the general industry and competitive environment, Porter's five forces model is sufficient in helping evaluate the three. In the general environment, we have three aspects to talk about. The demographic as well as political and legal played a role in our company by varying pay rates by region. Obviously, individuals will work for less outside North America, and some political environments contribute to that. The economic aspect was felt by our company by the low interest rates as well as the exchange rates we paid to ship and receive products. In the industry environment, threat of new entrants is low. The current footwear market is so saturated and there is little attraction for a competitor large enough to threaten our position. Threat of substitute products or services is high. There are too many sports, athletic, and fashion brands, outdoor companies, that can substitute the demand for shoes. Bargaining power of suppliers is low. We try to form long-term strategic partnerships with suppliers, which benefits both them and us. Bargaining power of customers is high. The competition is intense and the customers have a wide choice of alternative options. Incidence of competitive rivalry is strong. We are in a very competitive environment, facing forces competition with other companies. After we turned our performance around, we had to be on our toes. Any ill-advised moves or lack of action jeopardized our positive improvements due to such strong competition.
In the first of 5 investor expectations categories, earnings per share was where we found ourselves excelling very late in the game. As you can see, and it's apparent for most of the categories, we started out in the middle of the pack and then dropped significantly years 12 through 14. Our net income really suffered, but we often found ourselves repurchasing shares of stock in order to inflate our number. However, we quickly realized that we could not simply count on repurchasing stock due to yearly limitations. After hitting rock bottom, we made necessary adjustments and experienced great success from year 15 forward. We remained near or above investor expectation for all of the following years. Also, we remained below the industry average until year 18 when our EPS was $6.35. Return on equity was a bright spot for Impact Footwear. Investor expectation was 15%. We exceeded expectation 5 of the 8 years, with our highest coming in year 18 at 24.9%. Again, repurchasing stock was very beneficial to us in this category as a means of inflating our percentage. In regard to stock price, we exceeded expectations 3 of the 8 years, with our last year's price of $108.87 per share greatly passing an expectation of $48.75. We decided to pay dividends early in the game and had planned to make gradual increases each year. After all, this type of movement bodes well in the eyes of an investor. However, as we experienced hardship early in the game, we neglected this mindset. Once we started taking on debt in order to stay afloat, among other things, our stock price quickly tanked. Credit rating was phenomenal for Impact Footwear in years 15 through 18, as we were A-rated at the very least. With that being said, we reached our low points in years 13 and 14 when we were rated C-. As was the case in most, if not all, categories, we were near the bottom of the pack prior. Our usage of debt and poor performance in sales, income, etc. quickly forced our credit rating down. However, starting in year 15, we exceeded expectations and industry average, as well as beat out our other 2 competitors. Image rating was by far the investor expectation we simply could not quite get a handle on. Early in the game, we were not looking to spend our way to a high rating, so we gambled on the private label. When we would look at the potential of winning private label, our image looked excellent. However, obviously we did not win private label contracts, and our image suffered the consequences. Also, we did not have a clear strategy of bidding on celebrities, so we simply made random bids without any real rhyme or reason. This category is probably the true low point of our organization. It wasn't until year 18 that we exceeded expectation at 77. This was due to the fact that we increased our superior material usage to 100%, and our SQ rating then increased to 9 in North America and 10 in the remaining regions, which was easily the industry leader. Impact Footwear's debt-to-assets ratio was very high early in the game due to our reliance on large amounts of debt. However, we limited ourselves to borrowing money twice in the game and worked diligently to pay off those debts. We did not necessarily increase our total assets to improve this ratio, we simply worked to reduce our debt. Our current ratio was another bright spot for Impact Footwear. As you can see, we clearly stood out from our competitors and the industry average. In years 15 through 18, we moved in the 5 to 10 range, where we could comfortably generate cash to pay our current liabilities. Again, as is the case with our debt-to-assets ratio, it was not necessarily our huge increase in current assets, even though we experienced good cash balance gains. The underlying cause of the favorable ratio was the fact that we greatly reduced our current liabilities. As seen by the graph, Impact Footwear was high risk for default early in our company's life. We used a large percentage of our credit line early in the game as we scrambled to stop the bleeding of our poor performance. While the use of debt is not necessarily a bad thing, we simply used debt without trying to make adjustments elsewhere. After we hit rock bottom in year 14, we quickly began to restructure, and we viewed the use of credit as not being an option. First, we didn't want to be held back by large amounts of debt. Second, we did not want to be stuck paying inflated interest rates due to our poor credit rating. While the previous slides have compared our numbers to our competitors and the industry average, these next 3 slides are simply a snapshot of our company in terms of our cost per pair of shoes. In year 11, we started out by producing our shoes with a high percentage of standard materials. These 2 variables will be the 2 to watch as you watch the percentages from here in year 11 and as we transition to year 18. As you can see, all variables other than materials remain fairly consistent. There are not large increases or decreases. As a matter of fact, the use of standard and superior materials really does not move much in year 14. But wait. And finally, to the naked eye, it's rather obvious where our strategy took us and the effect on our pie chart. While we began to use more superior materials in year 17, it was year 18 where we transitioned to 100% superior materials in our athletic shoes. When comparing to previous years, the use of both standard and superior materials accounted for 33 to 34% of the cost per pair of shoes. However, when strictly using superior materials, that jumped considerably to 48% of the cost per pair of shoes.
My name is Christina Witt, and I'm going to be discussing the strategies that we employed as a company. Obviously, a company will not be successful without effective strategies. As I will discuss in the next few slides, we witnessed firsthand how performance is affected both with and without good quality strategies. I will be discussing 3 areas of strategy: generic business strategy, private label strategy, and international strategy, and how we handled each. In terms of a generic business strategy, we strived to be a low-cost leader since day one, but our execution of that strategy varied throughout the game. In year 11, we thought we could gain market share and participate in the private label market with our low costs, and then in turn be able to lower our retail prices. But we got wrapped up in what the other companies were doing. We were comparing their numbers and choices with ours, and this is where we lost our strategic focus. By year 13, this loss of focus had caused us to hit rock bottom. Our overhead was through the roof, and we had to take an even farther nosedive to try and recoup our strategy. Our inventory costs were very, very high due to the fact that we were carrying over large amounts of inventory each year at the Asia Pacific warehouse. In year 15, the creation of the 3-year plan was the saving grace for our company. With this plan, we were able to refocus and increase and decrease costs where we saw necessary. And with this, we were able to reduce our cost per pair sold by about $5, and we were still able to produce good quality shoes. In the end, in year 18, we fared pretty well compared to where our strategy started. We went from using other companies as benchmarks for our low-cost strategy to looking inside of our own company to find the areas that needed improvement for our strategy to work. And it did. Towards the end of the game, our costs were competitive and sometimes even lower than our competitors. Furthermore, at this point in the game, we really strived to offer a focused product line, which meant a narrow market segment. In summary, this lack of focus and sticking with one strategy throughout the game was due to the fact that we knew we had an end date in sight. We were unwilling to make any drastic moves or change our business strategy because we knew that we were limited in the number of years that we could recover. With regards to the private label market, we gave it a try for the first 3 years as it was an integral part of our original low-cost leadership strategy. Every year, we placed a bid in the private label market, the lowest bid that we could, and barely earn a profit, and we were still outbid every single time. Impact's manufacturing and overhead costs were too high to be profitable in the private label market. Additionally, every team was fighting for market share, which resulted in a very saturated market during the first few years of the game. After year 13, we realized that we could not be competitive in the private label market with our high costs, nor did we want to when there was more supply than demand, bids were unrealistically low for us, and the efforts that we were putting forth in the private label market were pulling our focus away from our critical numbers. With that being said, we did sneak in and capture some private label in years 13, 15, and 16 in the Asia Pacific market, and in years 15 and 16 in the Latin America market. Once we started seeing negative margins over direct costs, we decided to neglect the private label in years 17 and 18. Therefore, we focused on and dumped all of our production into the branded segment. Impact Footwear's international strategy was more aligned with the global approach that is outlined in our textbook. With the global approach, and evident with our operations, all business units were highly integrated and matched in terms of their products. We utilized the same percentage of the superior materials at each location, offered the same SQ rating, and the same amount of models offered. While our prices, advertising, rebates, and other variables did fluctuate, we were concerned with producing the same product throughout the world. Due to the shortened amount of time the game was played, we didn't feel that we had adequate time to truly experience the benefits of varied approaches in each region of the world that we were operating in. Whether right or wrong, we felt that the risks outweighed potential benefits of implementing differentiation in each region. It's very difficult to limit lessons learned to 4 bullet points, but we believe that these may be 4 of the most important. The BSG really opened our eyes as to what it takes to run a company. As we all know, we specialize in a particular area in college and in our careers, and this game made us face the various aspects of operating a company that we may not necessarily specialize in. Teamwork is somewhat related to the previous point. Since there were numerous areas to manage, it required the use of teamwork in order to make the best decisions. While we often overlapped and worked on everything collectively, we had originally set out to take responsibility for certain areas in order to provide more expertise. We then counted on each other to make collective decisions, as is common in the professional world. One individual does not run an organization. It takes a heterogeneous management team to be successful. I'm not quite sure preparation can be stressed enough. When Dr. Haggard stressed to the class to be well aware of and well versed in the BSG Player's Guide, as well as the help pages, she was definitely not preaching something insignificant. It was vital to have a solid grasp on the guide and help pages, because they provided numerous tips and beneficial information needed in a game that requires understanding a large amount of data and concepts. And finally, we learned that it is necessary to pick a strategy and stick to it. While we felt the shortness of the game wouldn't require such, we were completely wrong. This was obvious by the success of leading companies such as Distinctive, Brios, and Fab4 Footwear. The BSG was a great example of what it's like to run a company.